My name is Christian Detellier, so I am a prof of chemistry at the University of Ottawa. I'm also Associate VP Research, but today this is with my hat of chemist that I will speak about our International Master in Advanced Clay Science. I've been at the University of Ottawa for 31 years. But you can hear from my slight accent that I'm not originally from Canada, and I'm not from France. Okay, I have to say that immediately. I'm from Belgium, which gives me, in fact, with my background in having been raised in Belgium, perhaps even more experience to support the administrative nightmares of the European community. But also, I'm so proud of my country that you know is now demonstrating to the world that you do not need a government. But we are not here to speak about Belgian politics, but about this International Master in Advanced Clay Science. It will be complementary to what Eric has shown, in the sense that I will focus on what we are doing with this program, how we have built this program. This is a picture of the first cohort of students who arrived in Poitiers in September 2010, so 1 year ago. There are 18 students. There are a few people of Poitiers there also. So we are 5 universities involved in the program. Poitiers in France is the coordinator, the main institution, with the Technical University of Crete in Chania, Greece, the University of Aveiro in Portugal, Ottawa in Canada, and the Federal University of Rio Grande do Sul in Brazil, Porto Alegre. This is also under the umbrella of the Association Internationale pour l'Étude des Argiles. This is an international organization that is giving us support and following, in fact, what we are doing. We are dealing with 4 specializations inside this master. In environment, soil, and geological system, this is mainly Poitiers and Brazil. Geomaterials and civil engineering, this is mainly with Crete in Greece. Advanced clay, nanomaterials, it's Ottawa, it's our contribution. And healing minerals, that's really the Portuguese part of the program. So the objectives was, and it's still, to train high-level graduates in the field of clay science with a wide range of competencies from earth sciences, from chemistry, from physics, from environmental science, from engineering, and from health sciences also. It is interdisciplinary, of course, and we want to address a very large international job market with the training that we are giving to those master students. You can wonder why we want to do clay science. I'm not going to give a long description of that. Those are beautiful materials. They are large, they are everywhere in the world, they are cheap, and they are chemically, they have the potential to become really the basis of very advanced materials. I'll come back on that. Nanofibers of sapiolites, nanoscrolls of kaolinites, and so on. So they are abundant and inexpensive. They have unique physical and chemical properties. They have played an important role, of course, in the human civilization. From the beginning of the prehistoric times, and probably before, there are signs that Homo erectus or Neanderthalis were using clays for healing purposes. Conventional use, of course, in the bricks, in the tiles, in the ceramics. They are used in the paper coating. You have a lot of clays around you. Probably kaolinite is all around all the papers that we have in this room. Then in waste management, and particularly important for France, nuclear waste disposal. recent use in nanocomposites. In the last 15 to 20 years, we've seen huge interest in the use of some clays to reinforce polymers, and they are now used in the automotive, in aerospace industries, for example, but also in many applications where the polymers that are used need to be reinforced. And that gives also their use as environmentally benign fire retardant. The fire retardants that are used now are based on bromine compounds. They were based on the chlorine compounds before. That has been banned. They are bromine compounds now. They are going to be banned also. The clay minerals could be a replacement for those purposes. There are medical uses, like drug delivery systems, for example, but also the traditional medicines, pollution control, environmental protection, and of course, soil management. But also, the clays are responsible of the landslides, and which can have catastrophic results, mud flows. So this is the importance in geotechnical engineering, but also, and particularly for Canada, in the north of Alberta, with our oil sands, what creates most of the problems, it's clay minerals. It's because of the clay minerals that are in the sands that they are obliged to have those sedimentation ponds that are the big source of pollution. So I like this sentence, because I fully agree that clays and clay minerals, either as such or after modification, will be recognized as the materials of the 21st century. I don't know if Eric would agree with that, but because they are abundant, inexpensive, and environmentally friendly, and I would add chemically very interesting, because we can start from them to do something else. So, that program now. The requirements for students to be part of the program is BSc or equivalent. They must have a minimum grade of B- in the European Credit Transfer System grading. That means more than 70%. Or, and we had several examples, recognized professional experience. They must have a fluent level of English. Courses in the 5 institutions are given in English. But in the 5 institutions also, they receive language training in French, in Portuguese, in Greek if they want, but particularly in Ottawa, in French. Admission criteria, we look at the transcript, of course, and the results. We need reference letters. They need to write a letter of motivation. We look at their curriculum vitae, and some administrative documents. They have to show that they have a passport and so on. The selection process of the students, we have a selection board with representatives from each of the 5 institutions, and we meet once a year. So far it has been in Aveiro in Portugal, where we look at all the pile of all the applications and we select the students who will receive the scholarship. Typically we aim at 9 non-European students, 9 European students, for a maximum of 18 students in the program. The excellence of the candidate is the only criterion that we are looking for, but there are geographical quota. We cannot admit more than 2 students from any given country. That's one of those regulations. Hélène has shown, has spoken about the financial support. This, I will not go too much into the detail here, but the category A students, essentially, to make it simple, it's the non-European students, Europe being extended to a few other countries, and the category B scholarships are European students. So the category A scholarship, the student receive for their 2 years 8,000 euro as contribution to travel, installation, and other things. They receive 4,000 euro per semester, so 16,000 euro from there. A monthly allowance of 1,000, so 24,000 over the 2 years. 24, 16, 8,000, so a maximum of 48,000 euro, which is the number that Hélène has shown. But we ask them tuition fees that are 8,000 euro per year for non-European, but also for the European students. So out of the 48, you remove 16,000, so they still have 30,000 euro for their 2 years for the master program. The European one, the system is not as generous as it is for the non-European. 3,000 euro if that includes a mobility period in a third country, for example, or in Brazil, in our case, they get 8,000 over the 2 years, 12,000 over the 2 years for the monthly allowance. So a maximum of 23,000, which means that if you remove, of course, the tuition fee, that does not leave them with a lot of money. So we have put in place a special support for them for their tuition fees. And this is how we have built our program. And to meet the requirements of exchange and of mobility, they have, over the 2 years, they have 5 periods. And you have here 5 columns corresponding to the 5 universities. Poitiers, so France, Portugal, France, Greece, Portugal, Brazil, and Canada. So they arrive in Poitiers, and they stay in Poitiers for 7 months. Then they have to go to one of the other countries for 4 months. They can take 1 month of holiday and go back to their country, for example. And then they have 2 intensive sessions. I'll describe that in a few seconds. Either the first one either in Greece or Canada, the second one being either in France or Portugal. And then they have another period of 6 months where they can go in any of the 5 participating institutions. And at the end, there is a farewell congress when they receive their diploma, and that is in France. So this is always, as we say, this is good because we will have, I look forward to that meeting, because that will be the first one. First period, all the students arrive in Poitiers, and it's an integrative period for 1 month. They have certainly a lot of administrative formalities to do. They receive an intensive French course. They have a field trip that is organized for them, Poitiers being close to Montmorillon, which is the place where the most used clay mineral has been found first, la Montmorillonite, so they cannot miss going to see the deposits of Montmorillonite in Montmorillon. And then they have lectures and seminars in Poitiers. What they do really is to put them back, because they come from everywhere in the world, they put them back with the same science and math basis, and this is an upgrade or update for them. They receive also intensive courses on the fundamentals of clay science. And interestingly, those courses are shared with a French program, which is la Maîtrise nationale des argiles. And in fact, this Erasmus Mundus program is built upon what was an existent program in France, integrating the various laboratories working on clays in France. Second period, it's a professional practice or research project. If I take the example of Ottawa, we had 2 students with us during that period. One of them was wonderful. He took the initiatives of coming to Burlington, not far from Toronto, working with a factory, a brick factory there, brought back to Ottawa some materials from there, and the project was really to see how we can help in reducing the carbon dioxide emissions from brick factories. But it was really his initiative, and he is initiating what will probably become a collaborative project with that industry. Also, we had, during that period, 2 visiting scholars. Hélène has mentioned the support that can be given to visiting scholars also in that program. Third and fourth period, it's really a very intensive course period that's given to the students during 2.5 months. I'll come back on that, but unfortunately for the non-European students, this is the only time really that they can go outside Europe, because their stay outside Europe is limited to 3 months maximum. So the intensive courses that they receive during that period, again, will depend upon the specialty of the laboratories or of the place. And in Ottawa, we are giving them a course on the chemistry of clay minerals. They are linked with our Center for Catalysis Research and Innovation, when they learn all the techniques of characterization and all the characterization of nanomaterials. This is our group of students that we have now with us in Ottawa. They are still there for 1 week. I'll come back on them. It's a wonderful group of students coming from, you will see, everywhere in the world. And they are enthusiastic, they are very motivated, they are very open, they have brilliant ideas. It's really, it's really nice to work with them. Finally, the students will have to choose a place to do their research project during 6 months. This is the master thesis period, and they can do that in any of the 5 institutions. What are the degrees that are awarded? So, well, I'm sorry for that slide. It's a bit busy, but essentially what they get, and you will see that on the next slide better. What they get, all of them will get the French degree, the Master en de la Maîtrise nationale des argiles. That will be awarded as the first master degree for all the students. They can have a second or a triple master degree to be awarded according to some criteria, of course. They can have the Portuguese or the Greek degree as a second degree, depending where they have done, if they have done enough European credit transfer system, either in Aveiro or in Chania. They can have a third degree in Brazil if they do their elective research period in Brazil. We have a little problem in Canada, in Ottawa, which is that our master degree, contrary to the European degrees, it's a research master. So we put a lot of emphasis on the research work, not a lot on the courses that our students follow. So to get the master degree in Ottawa, they must have done the 2 periods of research under the supervision or the co-supervision of someone from Ottawa. We have also our residency obligations, that the students, to get the degree, must have a residency of 3 semesters, which means that essentially to get the Ottawa degree, only the European students can get it, because for the non-European students, they cannot spend more than 3 months outside of Europe. But we will have 2 students doing their master with us next summer, and they have already done in co-supervision their first part in Aveiro. They get, of course, a diploma supplement which tells them that they have the international master. And the students are very interested, in fact, I think you mentioned that also, the students are really very interested in being members of the Erasmus Mundus Students and Alumni Association. This table shows the way the students can go through their 5 periods and which degree they can get. So, for example, to get the Canadian degree here as a 3rd degree, in this case, they would get the French, the Portuguese, and the Canadian degree. They would have to do their research period in Ottawa, and they would have to do 2 periods in Aveiro. They can do one in Crete and one in Poitiers. So they would be in 4 different countries, and the research period, the 2 and the 5, would have to be done either in Ottawa or in co-supervision with Ottawa to get the 3rd degree here. But all of them would get 2 diploma, the French one and either the Portuguese or the Greek one. I think I'm very enthusiastic about this program. The students are also, and certainly there are many advantages for this program. And I hope I have shown those advantages. There are challenges that we have faced and we are going to continue to face. As I have mentioned, the mobility restrictions. This is quite frustrating for the non-European students. That they cannot access the Canadian diploma, the Canadian master. I know 5 of them who would have liked to be in Ottawa next summer, and they cannot. We will have 2 of them, the Europeans. Believe it or not, but our worst nightmare has been to realize last spring, hey, they arrive in Ottawa in September. So early September, coming to Ottawa with our 40,000 students at the University of Ottawa, plus the Carleton students, plus the Algonquin, the Cité Collégiale, everybody is coming back to Ottawa beginning of September, and our residences are full. Nobody will rent something for 2 months and a half, of course, when they can rent for 1 year. Of course, as someone said, there is always a solution, and I went to see the Provost, and we found a special support so that they are lodged at our penthouse of the residences where we put our visitors. Normally they like that, they love it. But I don't know if that will continue the following years. That has been the worst nightmare for us. It's a problem that the financial support is much less for European students than for non-European students. We do not have as many applications from European students as we would like to have, and it's certainly one of the reasons. And European students can come from countries which are not more wealthy than non-European countries. A problem that we have also, because we are in Ontario, is the very high tuition fees for the foreign graduate students in Ontario. So, of course, if they want the master, if they are registered in our master, they need 3 semesters of registration, and they have to pay the foreign tuition fees. So that's included in the package, but it's a huge stress on our system. And I finish by showing that gang of students that we have with us now. And really, this is a wonderful experience. They are more friends than students, which will be a problem because we'll have to give some marks to them. But Stan, his background is in geology from Croatia. One day, his background is chemistry and pharmacy from Ethiopia. Chiwi from Taiwan, and she is a geotechnic engineer. Her dream is to have a helmet and go on the mines. Leopoldo, a geologist also from Brazil. Suraj, a ceramic engineer from India. Anna, she will stay in Ottawa next summer. but she's a geologist from Poland. Dante is a medical doctor, and he is extremely interested in geophagy, people who eat earth. So he decided to do this master program, and he gave us 2 seminars on geophagy. That's extremely interesting. He is from Mexico. Mariana, her background is in oceanography, from Brazil also. And Katia, she's a chemical engineer from Indonesia. And so I thank you with that bridge between old bridge, very old bridge between Ontario on this side and Quebec on this side. I thank you for your attention, and I thank again the organizers for this day. Thank you.